now let me show you my 2 favorite guard breaks that I like to do. You just saw a variation of one with knee in the butt, but this one is like, I've been using it nonstop. It's been extremely effective, and if higher belts don't like it, then screw them. All right? This is a combat sport, so they're not going to like this, but that's fine. So let's get on the side angle like this. So first and foremost, keep yourself protected, keep your arms in. She's going to be trying to break my posture. She's going to be trying to move me with her legs. And if I just stay tight right here, I'm just staying calm and relaxed, right? I'm trying to show her I'm immovable. Okay, so now this is what I'm going to do, as I'm going to be focusing kind of on one leg, but with my elbows. So I'm going to bring my elbow right to her hip flexor. And sometimes this hip flexor is just a nice little button. She opens her guard for me. It's just a nice little button. So I get my elbow right in that hip flexor. I start compressing into it. She doesn't like that. And I get my other elbow, which is already on the inside. And notice I have like these praying mantis arms right here. And you can decide which one you want to cover. For me, I typically like to cover this arm because she's going to be starting to move this arm to try to manipulate it, and she wants me to be moving forward. So if I can kind of protect it, create another layer right here, it makes things a little bit better, right? And then I get my elbow, and now I'm going to kind of expand my body, right? I like fill it with air and expand it until I break it, and this knee goes on the down. This knee goes on the ground. I have these praying mantis arms, I tell the kids. It's like a frame with a praying mantis arm hooking over here. Because as she tries to go for a triangle in this position, my arm goes with it wherever she goes. Right? Where if I have one of these and she boom slips, I could fall right into a triangle, right? So now that we're aware of the triangle, I got these praying mantis arms, right? I pin this to the ground. Now, I have to be careful. I can't allow this knee to shift in front of me. So as I break this, I knee staple. So my knee staple, my knee like literally staples to the ground, which means that I have my toes still on the ground over here and my knee stapled over here. My knee is not on top of her. Now I'm not way down here over her knee. I'm trying to be close right here. And the reason I'm doing that is because now this leg is separated from this leg. I'm isolating her and her hips are pinned, okay? If I have my toes up, she's just going to pull and she's going to lock up this other leg, which we'll show you on the other side. And she's going to lock that up. And now I'm in a half guard, which a half guard is an ugly position to be in. Where I was already almost passed into that mounted position, now I have to fight a freaking half guard battle. So I break this guard, I staple this down. Okay, now she can still be like trying to fight me right here. So I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm still not allowing this knee to come in. So I'm nice and low. I'm going to hug her far arm and her head. I'm going to try to turn her head away from me. I'm going to talk about why we do this here in a second. Now I bring my knee to the closed guard. I'm going to bring my knee straight to her belly. And then I'm going to fold it over and settle in this mount position. Okay, which one I'm going to start looking for my Americanas. All right, so let's do it from this other side. I'm going to scooch this way a little bit. Thank you. So I'm in this closed guard. I'm tight. She's going to be trying to manipulate me. I'm just staying calm. Just staying calm. If she voluntarily opens her guard ever, right, I'm out. I'm out. I hate being in closed guard, right? But she's not opening that guard, okay? So I'm going to bring my elbow right to that hip flexor. See, she hates it. Look at their face. If they hate you, then you're doing it right. All right, I fold this over and I start to compress this down. And look how I'm staying low, I'm compressing this. I was up a little bit earlier just to show you what was happening. I really like to stay low. And I staple over right here. And look how low I'm staying. I'm keeping the staple to the ground. And now look how I'm moving my head up their chest and against. Okay? Turning her head away. Getting my knees going straight to her belly. I do not step over to mount ever. I'm going to look at you guys to say that. I do not step over to mount ever. I'm always going to be bringing my knee to her belly and then mount. So I got her twisted, knee, belly to mount. Lock in. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about this. Let's talk a little bit about this in the sense of what am I doing? Why am I focusing on certain things? So as I staple her leg here, notice her hips move this way, okay? And remember, we talked about spinal alignment. Now, as I hug her head and I shove her neck this way, now her neck's out of alignment with her spine and out of alignment with her hips, so she's completely twisted. She's got no strength. As my shoulder comes up, I'm separating her upper body from her lower body. Where before she was trying to fight me and look at it, she's kind of like a unit. As I separate her upper body, she's no longer a unit. Her hips and legs are out of the game, and now she's even manipulated in her spinal alignment up here. I hug the far arm, so that way she can't stop my knee from coming through. We'll go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. But you see how this is all coming together? I'm able to advance my position with those mechanical advantages by getting her weak, making her body weak with those spinal disalignment, or misalignment, I should say. Both words work, I guess.
Yes.
And then I'm stapling the leg, so I'm avoiding any other guard. I'm separating her upper body and her lower body, and I'm preventing any tools she might have to stop me from advancing my position, okay? So, I'm right here. I'm locked in. I'm not letting her break my guard, right? I'm just staying nice and tight right here. I get my elbow to her hip, all right? And you see how she's starting to open her guard already because it's nasty. Get my elbow right here, compress her down. Right off the bat, I'm staying low. I'm going to knee staple, right? And you see I'm preventing this leg from coming in. This is not comfortable for her. I can hear her breathing, right? I'm going to start coming in. I'm going to hug the far arm, and I'm going to start pushing my chest up, keeping the staple in here, okay? Now, I'm going to try to move her head to the other side. Now, if I didn't have this arm hug, as I try to go from knee on belly, look at, she's going to push this leg through, and she's going to start finding a way to get this leg in and manipulate me. So, I need to stay low. I hug this arm. Now, when I bring this knee up, she doesn't have the ability to stop it. I drive through, okay? And notice that I'm talking you through it, right? So I'm kind of doing things. So I'm going to do one real quick where I'm not going to give her any space, okay? And I'm just going to go through the move to see how effective it can be. And I want Jade, once I kind of get the knee staple, to give me a little bit of resistance, okay? So head on this side. So actually the whole time give me a little bit of resistance, okay? So I got in the closed guard, and now she's going to be trying to manipulate me. Okay, so you saw right there, like, for me it wasn't perfect, but I kept moving through. I didn't compromise where my hips were. I didn't compromise where my shoulder was going. I had to adjust a little bit along the way while she was giving me resistance, but you see I slowly moved up. I didn't compromise what I was doing. I compromised how I was doing it. But what got accomplished was the same exact thing. I broke, right? I broke her guard. I knee stapled, even though I had to raise up a little bit to get past her. And then once I got in there, I stayed close so this leg couldn't come in. I broke her upper body and her lower body. So since we understand conceptually what we're trying to do to her body, our body can adjust accordingly and advance according to how she tries to resist that. So even right here, let's say I break that, and she needs to get this arm or knee in right here as she tries to do it. Maybe I'm too high, so maybe I need to shift it over like that, you see? If I need to separate her upper body, if she's like framing on my neck and stuff, maybe it's like, it doesn't matter how I do it. I'm just needing to get her upper body and lower body separated and trying to get her chin moved to the other side. You see how she doesn't like that? And now I go straight to the knee on belly to mount. So anyway, that's a fantastic way in no-gi to start moving through, is moving backwards. All right, that's crucial. I'm moving backwards. I'm framing against her so she can't follow me. Okay, just like a mount escape. I frame and then I move my hips. Same with this. I'm framing so she can't advance her position towards me as I move my hips back towards her ankles, which is the door, right, to her closed guard and the success to her closed guard. Those frames are going to mean everything. And what's really nice about this guard break is that I don't have to compromise a lot of my frames and a lot of my angles and movements. It's going to be very difficult for her to get back exposure. It's going to be very difficult for her to break my posture. And I'm going to break that and knee staple my way right through her. Okay? There's other ways of passing that we've talked about in the intro course where I break, I move backwards, and I go around, right? Which is awesome, but it's even more awesome to advance forward while I already have control of her hips. So like we've kind of seen it the other way. And this might be what ends up happening because it's not always going to be perfect, right? As I get right here, I break this, and she starts to get her leg in front. Okay, that's fine. Now I start moving to right open guard pass. Totally legitimate, right? Like I said, there's no right and wrong. There's just like more optimization, and we'll get better in time as we do that. But I'm telling you, this guard break has worked for me from white belt all the way through black belt effectively. And it's an aggravating guard break to deal with if you're the person who's maintaining the guard. Okay? I'm just going to stick with those two guard breaks for now. Realize that both of them are moving your hips backwards, keeping the frames. And for example, when I do the knee in the butt, it's like my whole body's moving backwards, right? Knee in the butt, my whole body's arching. I'm moving back until I get that break. And then I come in for the knee staple and I advance. The other one is not necessarily the whole body, but I'm like, it's like, have you ever seen the people who you lock your keys in the car and they just come in, put a balloon in there and just fill it up until it explodes? That's what I think about. Well, I shouldn't say explode, but it pops the door open. Oh. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of the way I view that, right? Is I get in here and I like fill up the balloon, but you see how my body moves backwards? Don't be so much focused on pushing this leg down as much as I am is like my body's moving back. So as she closes the guard right here, watch how I move my body backwards. Let me do it on the other angle so they can kind of see. Get my butt in here. All right. So as I'm right here, watch how I like move my body backwards. And then my knee staple comes through, keeping this tight on your hips. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I like, not compress, I expand away. So my butt against her closed guard is still moving backwards with pressure.
And you're staying lower to the ground.
Yeah, stay low to the ground, right? And I get my combat base that we talked about, which is my knee comes up between her and I, right? When my knee is up between her and I, even if she closes that guard, I'm still able to move my hips forward because she went from closing her guard and pinning my hips to me to being able to expand and move forward to progress, right? So that, I think, is a great, like, those two guard breaks are good for no gi, right? And what's cool is everything we're doing right now is going to work in gi, and if not better, right?
Do the pant grips.
Yeah, lots of grips.